Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today we're jumping right into some serious relationship drama, high-stakes stuff.
Definitely high stakes. We're talking about Xander Kyriakis and Sarah Horton.
Era for the fans out there. And they're really at a critical point, aren't they?
Absolutely. They've been separated for months, huge betrayal issues.
Yeah.
But now maybe possibly moving towards getting back together.
Yeah, and we've got a load of recent material like sources detailing their struggles, therapy sessions they're involved in.
And crucially, this massive secret, this unresolved lie that's just sitting there like a landmine under everything they're trying to build.
Right. So our mission today for you listening is to really pull apart this emotional knot.
We need to understand the web, the lies, the betrayals, but also the personal growth happening.
The external pressures, too. All the things deciding if Xander, Sarah, and their daughter Victoria can actually, be a family again by the holidays. That seems to be the timeline everyone's watching.
We're digging into the why and the how. What do the sources predict, and based on what evidence?
And one thing that jumped out immediately, even before we get into the mess, the rings.
Oh, yeah. That's powerful, isn't it? The material points out, despite being separated for months, they're both still wearing their wedding rings.
That's not nothing. Symbolically, it screams unfinished business, lingering hope.
Exactly. It's a huge psychological signal. It suggests they haven't really, truly cut the emotional cord.
Despite all the hurt.
Yeah, despite the incredible pain, it feels like they're both still holding on to that love, that possibility of a path forward.
So that commitment, even while apart, it's kind of the baseline for this whole reconciliation attempt we're looking at.
It really is. It's the foundation, shaky as it might be.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. How did they even start moving back towards each other after everything that happened? #tag1, the fragile path to reconciliation.
Right, because this wasn't some slow, gradual thaw, apparently.
No, not at all. The sources pinpoint a specific event that really kicked things into high gear. Their daughter Victoria's second birthday party.
Bingo. Those kinds of family milestones, especially with kids involved, they just change everything.
Suddenly it's not just about the two of them and their broken relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It forces them to look at the family unit, the thing they both still want, presumably, for their daughter. They shift from being angry exes to, co-parents trying to make it work. For her sake.
And right after that, we get what feels like the absolute core of this current phase. Sarah apologizes to Xander.
Yes. And specifically, she apologizes for pushing Philip Kyriakis to confess about the assault, the alleged assault.
Okay, pause right there. This is where it gets incredibly messy because, the apology itself feels built on sand.
Quicksand, baby.
Yeah.
The irony is staggering. Sarah is apologizing for pushing for the truth.
A truth that our sources confirm is the actual truth.
Right. Xander did attack Philip, but Xander and Philip are working together, maintaining this lie that he didn't.
And the source material says this false story is actually gaining traction with Sarah. She's starting to buy it.
Which is why she apologized. She was essentially convinced by the two men involved, her husband and his brother, the victim, that her own gut feeling, her correct perception, was wrong.
Wow. Okay, let's just sit with the psychological impact of that for a second.
It's huge.
She's not just saying sorry. She's being made to doubt her own reality, her own observations.
Her own intelligence, really. If she was so sure Xander was guilty and now she's being told, no, you were wrong, apologize, how does she trust her own judgment going forward?
Even if he seems like he's changing now.
Exactly. That's the deep relational damage. This cover-up isn't just about keeping Xander out of legal trouble. It's eroding Sarah's trust in herself.
And think about Xander's side of that, allowing her to apologize for something he knows he did.
It's profound moral lapse, isn't it? It goes way beyond just having a temper problem. It speaks to a fundamental issue with honesty, with integrity.
So to really get why reconciliation is even on the table, but also why it's so fragile, we need that backstory. The original split.
Right. Context is key. Because it wasn't simple. It was rooted in mutual deception. Both sides messed up.
Okay, lay that out for us.
So Sarah betrayed Xander first. In his eyes. She lied about that forged letter from Philip, the one about Victor Kyriakis' estate.
Which, for Xander, hit him where it hurts family legacy, money, their future, a big breach of trust.
A massive breach. But then Xander's reaction, his betrayal, that was physical violence, assaulting his own brother.
And then lying about it. Repeatedly. To Sarah.
So you've got these two distinct types of betrayal playing out.
Sarah's was deception, maybe driven by, a misguided sense of loyalty to Philip? Or maybe desperation, financial stuff.
Possibly. Complex motives there, for sure. But Xander's was, outright physical violence, followed by this campaign of lies. Gaslighting, really.
That feels like the core imbalance the sources keep highlighting. Xander was furious about Sarah's lie, and okay, it was a serious deception.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't compare, does it, to the actual physical assault he committed and the ongoing cover-up. Accepting her apology for his crime. That's next level.
It really is. So, yeah, they both bring baggage to the table. Significant baggage. But Xander's baggage is, well, it's an actual crime he's trying to pretend never happened.
Now, could that mutual history of messing up actually, weirdly, make things easier in one way?
How do you mean?
Like, because neither of them is squeaky clean, maybe they're more willing to forgive. They both need some grace here.
That's an interesting point. Maybe that shared sense of imperfection makes forgiveness feel more possible. Like, okay, I messed up, you messed up, let's try again.
And it's a huge but.
The foundation. You
Right.
can't build grace on an active lie.
Yeah.
Especially not this lie.
What they seem to be doing is using their shared guilt as, like, a temporary bridge back to each other.
Yeah, but that bridge is entirely propped up by Xander refusing to admit the truth about the assault.
And dishonesty, his dishonesty specifically, was a huge part of why they split in the first place.
Exactly. It's repeating the pattern, just with higher stakes.
Okay, so given Xander's history, his temper being the main issue, Sarah needed some concrete proof of change. Which brings us to the therapy.
Right. Sarah wasn't messing around here. The sources are really clear. She laid down the law. Anger management for Xander. Non-negotiable.
And interestingly, her reasoning wasn't primarily fear for their daughter's safety, right?
Not direct physical danger, no. It was more about the environment. She was worried his temper, his emotional volatility, as the sources put it, would be a terrible example for Victoria growing up.
That actually shows a lot of insight on Sarah's part, doesn't it? Thinking long-term about the psychological impact.
Definitely. She's recognizing that modeled rage, even if it's not aimed at the child, is still damaging. Kids absorb that stuff.
And the therapy itself, who's handling it?
Dr. Marlena Evans, a pillar of their community, Her involvement really underscores how seriously this is being taken. It's not just any therapist, it's Marlena.
Which means Xander's getting proper, structured, professional help.
Presumably, yes. Top-tier stuff.
So the key question, is it working? What are the results? Because that's what Sarah's basing her softening stance on.
And the sources give us tangible evidence. It's not just Xander saying he's changed. There are observable signs.
Like what?
Well, he's apparently actively managing his anger, resisting that urge to rage, which for Xander Kyriakis that's huge. That's like his default setting.
So concrete behavioral shifts.
Yes. And he's specifically using tools, breathing techniques Marlena taught him, actively employing them to stop himself from escalating.
Okay, using techniques is one thing, but do they hold up under pressure? Because Xander's life isn't exactly calm right now.
Right, and that's the crucial point the source material emphasizes. He's demonstrating this control even when things are incredibly stressful.
How stressful are we talking?
Well, there's that massive Demera lawsuit hanging over Titan. That's not just a bad day at the office. That's potentially career-ending, financially ruinous pressure.
And he's staying calm through that, using his breathing exercises.
Apparently so. Refusing to fly off the handle, even with that level of stress. That suggests the therapy isn't just superficial, it's actually getting internalized. It's reshaping his immediate reactions.
Okay, that context is vital. For you listening, this isn't change in a vacuum. He's managing his anger while his professional world is potentially collapsing.
Which, understandably, has made a big impact on Sarah.
She's seeing this. She's seeing him handle immense pressure differently.
Exactly. The sources say she's been impressed by the progress,
Yeah.
and that's why she's starting to warm up to her estranged husband. She's seeing evidence that maybe, just maybe, he can change.
Marlena's therapy is basically giving Sarah the justification she needs to lower her guard emotionally, to trust his behavior again.
Behavior, yes, but. And here comes the giant caveat again.
His integrity.
Exactly. All this progress on his temper is happening while he's actively maintaining a massive lie about his actions.
He's fixing the symptom, the rage, but completely ignoring the root cause of the split, the dishonesty about his violence.
And that contradiction is the heart of the whole problem, which leads us directly into the big, unaddressed lie.
Okay, this is it. This is the ticking bomb under everything we just discussed.
This defines the entire conflict, really. Every step forward Xander takes in therapy, every bit of trust Sarah rebuilds, it's all happening on top of this deliberate, ongoing deception.
So let's just state it plainly for everyone listening, based on the source info. The fact is, Xander is guilty.
Unequivocally. He brutally attacked his brother Philip. That's the ground truth.
And yet,
Both Xander and Philip are actively, deliberately lying and gaslighting Sarah. They're working together to sell her this false story that Xander is innocent.
it's not just a lie Xander's telling on his own. It's a coordinated effort.
Absolutely. The sources talk about a cover-up network. Philip, the actual victim of the assault, is covering for Xander.
Which creates this incredibly twisted dynamic between them now.
Yeah, they're described as brothers bonded by lies and deception. First over the forgery, and now, much more seriously, over the assault.
The gaslighting aspect feels particularly damaging here.
It is. Because Sarah wasn't clueless. She initially was convinced Xander was guilty. She had reasons to suspect him.
But the official story changed.
Right. The charges got dropped. Why? Because Philip lied to the police, claimed some random stranger attacked him. That created the legal cover story.
And that official lie was then used against Sarah's own intuition?
Relentlessly. She was basically put in a position, forced, the sources say, where she has to accept Xander's supposed innocence.
She had to override her own gut feeling, tell herself, okay, I must have been wrong, he didn't do it.
And the direct result, her apology. The apology we talked about earlier. Apologizing for suspecting him of something he actually did. It's devastating.
If you think about what gaslighting really does, it's designed to make the target doubt their own perception, their memory, their sanity.
Exactly. Making Sarah feel like she was the one who wrongly accused him. That must have been incredibly painful for her. It invalidates her own experience.
And Xander just let her believe that. Let her apologize.
That, arguably, is an even deeper betrayal than the assault itself. It's a manipulation of her reality.
It's twofold then, the physical act and then this systematic campaign to make her doubt herself.
Yes. So if or when this truth comes out, the fallout won't just be about the violence. It'll be about months of calculated emotional manipulation, her realizing she was right all along, and he let her twist herself in knots over it.
There's also an external factor looming, someone who isn't buying the cover story at all.
Kate Roberts, Philip's mother.
Right. She's deeply involved, and she's not likely to just let this go.
Kate basically functions as the anchor to reality in this situation. She was furious when Philip lied to protect Xander. The sources are clear. Kate would undoubtedly welcome further legal repercussions for Xander.
She still believes he's guilty and wants him to face consequences.
Absolutely. Her opinion isn't going to be changed by Xander doing breathing exercises or Sarah starting to forgive him based on the lie. Kate knows what happened, or believes she does, and she wants justice for Philip, even if Philip doesn't.
So she represents the potential for this whole thing to unravel from the outside. Even if Xander and Sarah manage to patch things up based on this lie, Kate is out there.
She's the ticking clock, exactly. The person with the motive and potentially the means to expose the truth, regardless of Xander's therapy progress.
Which just highlights the tension. Xander's making real behavioral changes.
Genuine progress, it seems.
But it's happening in this moral void. He's improving his actions, but not his character, because he's still actively deceiving Sarah about the most critical event.
He's building this potential new future with her, focused on managing his anger, but the very foundation stone is rotten. It's a lie. #tag4, the couples counseling dilemma.
Okay, so Xander's doing well in individual therapy. Sarah's impressed, feeling hopeful. What's the next logical step in her mind?
Couples counseling. With Marlena again.
Makes sense from her perspective. She feels they both need help moving forward, right?
Yeah, Sarah's thinking seems to be, look, we both felt betrayed. Xander felt betrayed by my lie about the forgery. I felt betrayed by his, history of violence and lies. So we both need help rebuilding trust. Let's do it together professionally.
Trying to put them on equal footing for repair.
Exactly. It's her attempt to say, okay, we both contributed to the breakdown. Let's both contribute to the fix.
But for Xander, this proposal must land like a grenade.
Oh, absolutely. It's a massive risk for him. Why?
The lie, the big one. Assaulting Philip.
That's the unavoidable obstacle. He has to be thinking, if I walk into couples therapy with Marlena Evans,
Who is known for being perceptive.
extremely perceptive, trained to uncover hidden truths, buried issues, Xander has to worry that any deep dive into why they split, his temper triggers, his relationship with Philip, it could all lead back to the assault.
He risks exposing the whole thing, the assault, the cover-up, the ongoing lies.
Exactly. It puts him in an incredibly vulnerable position.
And there's another layer here too, right? What about Marlena's position in all this, ethically?
That's a really fascinating angle the sources touch on, sort of implicitly.
Like, if Xander agrees, and then maybe confesses the assault to Marlena, either alone or in a joint session, What does she do?
Well, therapy ethics are complex, but generally there's confidentiality. Unless there's an immediate threat of future harm, which this isn't, technically.
The violence already happened.
Right, so Marlena would likely be bound not to tell Sarah or the police about the past crime if Xander confessed as her patient.
Okay.
However, she absolutely couldn't just ignore it. Her job is to help the couple heal. How can she do that, knowing one partner is fundamentally deceiving the other about the very issue that broke them apart?
She'd be ethically obligated to address the dishonesty itself.
Precisely. She'd have to push Xander towards telling Sarah the truth himself, framing it as the only path to genuine healing. She couldn't expose him, but she couldn't enable the lie either.
Wow. So if Xander realizes that, he knows agreeing to therapy means agreeing to be pushed towards the one thing he desperately wants to avoid: confession.
It puts Marlena in a terrible bind, and Xander knows it.
And the pressure is on because there's a deadline. Sarah wants an answer soon.
By the end of the week, the sources say, it's a major decision point for him.
So let's game this out. What are his options and what happens, based on the analysis we have?
Okay, option 1, a simple yes. He agrees to couples therapy.
What does that imply? Either he's incredibly arrogant, thinking he can fool Marlena,
Or he's actually considering coming clean in that setting,
You're
which seems unlikely given the stakes.
option 2.
A conditional yes, like, yes, but we are not discussing the Philip incident.
That's basically waving a giant red flag saying I'm guilty, isn't it? Sarah might not have proof, but she'd know something's wrong. Why wall off the main event?
Exactly, it screams avoidance. And finally, option 3, just flat-out refusal. No, I don't want to do couples therapy.
And if he refuses, especially after doing so well with individual therapy with Marlena,
The sources are pretty direct here. A refusal would almost certainly be because of the lie that's hanging over his head.
it would make no sense otherwise. It would undermine all the progress he just showed Sarah.
It pulls the rug out from under her hope.
So the real impact, no matter his answer, short of full confession, falls on Sarah.
Absolutely. If he refuses, she'll suspect why. If he agrees conditionally, she'll suspect. And if the truth somehow comes out during therapy,
The explosion would be huge. She'd be deeply hurt and angry.
and not just because he hit Philip, but because she'd realize, I was right all along. He did do it.
And he let me apologize. He let me doubt myself.
That invalidation, that manipulation on top of the original crime, it would be catastrophic. Reconciliation would likely be impossible at that point.
He would have used her own guilt about the forgery to shield himself from accountability for something far worse.
It would prove that any change she thought she saw was just surface level. Behavior management, not character transformation.
And the overall message from the sources seems to be pretty clear about what's actually needed.
Yeah, it's almost like advice. For any real fresh start, Xander has to be open and honest. Dishonesty broke them. More dishonesty can't possibly fix them.
But that creates his impossible choice, his catch-22.
Exactly. Honesty is required for real healing, but honesty probably means losing Sarah forever. Deceit keeps her close now, but guarantees the relationship is built on lies and will likely implode later.
There's no easy path for him.
None at all. And complicating things even further is the role of the person he assaulted. #tag5. Philip's pivotal and ironic role.
Okay, this is maybe the most surprising twist in the whole thing. Philip Kyriakis.
Right. The victim of the assault, the person Xander beat up.
And also the co-conspirator in the cover-up.
And now, according to a reliable source, he is apparently going to play a crucial role in reuniting Xander and Sarah.
Wait, what? How?
He's going to actively assist in mending their marriage. The irony is just off the charts.
Why on earth would Philip do that? Help the guy who attacked him get back with his wife, especially when his own mother, Kate, wants Xander's head on a platter.
It boils down to complex, probably pretty murky motives.
Hmm.
And it all hinges on maintaining the lie.
Okay, explain that connection.
Well, remember Sarah's apology, the one that was so crucial for Xander. Philip sticking to the story, nope, Xander didn't attack me, is what allowed Sarah to believe she was wrong and apologize.
So Philip's continued lie basically paved the way for Sarah to forgive Xander, or at least apologize for accusing him.
Precisely. Philip's deception handed Xander essentially a get-out-of-jail-free card regarding the assault and simultaneously a pathway back to Sarah's good graces, all courtesy of the guy he put in the hospital.
That's just peak Kyriakis dysfunction, isn't it? Talk about self-serving behavior.
It really is. Now, why is Philip doing it? The sources suggest it's not simple forgiveness.
No kidding.
Is it some twisted form of Kyriakis family loyalty? Protect the name, protect Xander, keep things quiet?
Maybe. Or is it about Philip himself?
That seems more likely. Remember, the sources link both brothers through lies about both the assault and the original forgery plot. Philip isn't exactly clean in all this.
Ah, right. So by helping Xander keep the assault secret, Philip also keeps his own potential baggage related to the forgery and maybe his cooperation in the cover-up buried.
It seems plausible. Their fates are intertwined now because of these lies. If Xander goes down for the assault, the whole story might unravel, including Philip's role in protecting him and potentially other Kyriakis business. It's mutually assured destruction, almost.
So Philip helping Xander reunite with Sarah isn't altruism, it's self-preservation, masked as, what, family unity.
Something like that. Keep the facade intact. Avoid more scandal.
And it's important to draw a line between the legal side and Sarah's side.
Absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
The sources are pretty confident Philip is not going to suddenly change his story and press charges against Xander. Kate can push all she wants, but Philip seems committed to the cover story. He's chosen peace, or maybe dynasty protection, over personal justice.
But for Sarah, that's not even the main point.
Not at all. The sources stress this. Her core issue isn't whether Xander gets arrested. It's about his integrity.
Did he do it? Yes or no? And crucially, has he been lying to her face about it, especially after she felt so guilty about her own earlier lie?
Her crisis is moral and relational. She needs honesty from him about who he is and what he did. Philip, choosing to enable the lie, actively prevents that.
So Philip, in trying to mend the marriage by reinforcing the lie, is actually preventing the real mending that requires truth.
Exactly. He's helping Xander avoid the one thing the relationship desperately needs to have any chance long-term, a reckoning with the truth. He's prioritizing the cover-up over Sarah's right to know who she's reconciling with.
Wow. Yet despite this incredibly unstable foundation, the combination of Xander's real anger management progress and Philip's active assistance, it seems like it might actually work in the short term.
That's the prediction. The sources are leaning heavily that way.
That Zara will reunite by the holidays.
Yes. The suggestion is that Philip's reinforcement of the lie, combined with Sarah's desire to believe Xander has changed based on the therapy evidence, will be enough.
So Xander will either manage to dodge the truth bullet in therapy, or maybe he refuses therapy but convinces Sarah anyway, using Philip's denial as proof.
Something along those lines seems to be the projected outcome.
So the ultimate irony holds. The relationship that was shattered by lies is being temporarily glued back together by an even bigger lie.
A lie actively supported, even orchestrated, by the victim of the original crime.
Which locks both Kyriakis brothers into this pact.
Definitely. Philip's choice to help Xander isn't just about Xander. It's about protecting himself, protecting the family image, perhaps. But it comes at the cost of his own victimhood and Sarah's emotional truth.
He's essentially selling out his own experience and Sarah's need for honesty for the sake of, what? A fragile peace.
A peace built entirely on deception. And Sarah, meanwhile, is walking back into a marriage, requiring her to actively disbelieve her own correct instincts. It's a tragedy waiting to happen, even if it looks like a reunion for now. Hashtag tag outro.
Well, that was quite the deep dive into how trauma, lies, and maybe even some genuine change can get tangled up together.
Yeah, it shows how deception can sometimes feel like the glue holding things together, at least temporarily, rather than the thing tearing them apart.
And Xander is facing this just classic moral dilemma, this catch-22, as the sources put it.
Absolutely. Maintain the lie, get the family back, achieve that stability he seems to crave.
Yeah.
But no, it's all fake.
Or tell the truth, face the consequences, almost certainly lose Sarah and his family, but maybe achieve some kind of personal integrity.
It's the ultimate test, isn't it? Has he really changed fundamentally, or has he just learned to control his temper while still being willing to manipulate and deceive?
And for you listening, there's a broader takeaway here beyond this specific drama.
Definitely. What happens when you try to build anything important, a relationship, a career, whatever, on a foundation you know is false?
Can success built on a lie ever be truly sustainable?
We saw how Philip's lie, that helping hand, was key to getting Sarah to apologize and making this reunion seem possible.
But that same lie is the significant hindrance. It guarantees there's no real trust, no real intimacy possible in the long run. The relationship is currently working because of the lie.
Which is just fundamentally unstable.
So what's the final thought then? They're likely reuniting for the holidays? But then what?
Well, dishonesty and betrayal broke them up the first time. Can focusing only on anger management, avoiding the core issue of the assault and therapy, and relying on Philip's self-serving help really fix them.
Or is that secret, the assault, the gaslighting, just sitting there, a ticking time bomb?
Exactly. Waiting for that inevitable moment when the truth comes out. And when it does, it won't just hurt. It'll invalidate everything. Sarah's apology, Marlena's therapy progress, Philip's help, all of it.
And expose the Kyriakis dynamic for what it is.
It feels like the question isn't if the lie will surface, but when. And whether Xander will finally have to pay the price, not just for the violence, but for the profound lack of integrity that followed.
A very fragile future indeed. Okay, thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
We'll catch you next time.